Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Classic Constructed gameplay on the Arsenal Pass YouTube channel. Today, we're going to be playing Chane into Katsu. So the Chane deck, obviously, we all know about it. My list has been public a few times, and that this is just a version of that. Very similar to pretty much anything you're going to see. But I want to talk about a few cards. So Katsu is not something that we usually like to sit across from. We are favored as the Chane player, but still, it is one of the harder ones because you do usually have to play a hedge board. You don't know if it's going to be control or aggro. Both archetypes are very popular in the meta. That being said, Hayden is on aggro. We do know that, so we're not going to be playing a hedge board here. We have a kind of a strong 60 cards that we're going to be playing into this Katsu deck. So let's talk about some cards. Art of War Plunder Run, you've heard this story before. Important cards to draw in the Chane deck. Even with that, you can win plenty of games without drawing these cards with banishing them, but they are really the power cards. This and your Go Again cards, things like Shadow Puppetry, things like Modern Skies, are quite good. Speaking of Go Again, and not of the bird version, by the way, we have Rip Through the Reality and Meet and Greet. So Meet and Greet, if you sit across from an Aggro Katsu player or maybe another Chane player, they're never going to block the arcane damage. So would you rather have a conditional Go Again where you have to reveal a card out of hand as an aggro deck or a fast deck that you're going to be expending a lot of cards in? Or can you want to have that automatic Go Again because they will be taking that Rune Chant? Say that you don't have a Rune Chant, right? It is just 2 resources to create one, and you can create it on demand with the Grasp of the Arknight. So that's essentially the same thing as having an extra card, although you can't, an extra card to have the Go Again, although you cannot arsenal that card. So this is one thing to consider. These both block for 3, which is quite nice into the aggro ninja matchup. So very happy to have them, and they're absolute powerhouses. If you get hit by Meet and Greet, it's a higher variance card, obviously, but if the ninja player does see it, they're not going to be too happy about it. Rip is the lower variance version of it. That being said, Rip costs 2, and it's a high priority blocking card for us, but it is also nice to have it sit and banish. It makes the ninja player kind of think about life as they see that arcane damage in those big combat chains sitting across them. Let's talk about the armor. Really simple. We got the Arcanite Skull Cap carrying Husk, Grasp of the Arknight, and Snapdragon Scalers. Never really going to see that change, especially against Aggro Katsu. You're not going to run something like Aether Ironweave, most likely. And the Arcanite Skull Cap, the deck is full of on-hit triggers, so we're going to need to be blocking those. Most important thing, though, we do run Nebula Blade. This is something that you can't really swap out if you're going to use this list. This list is built for the Nebula Blade, enabling that permanent on-hit trigger with board card that has the on-hit trigger, recyclable in the Nebula Blade, coming in for 4, threatening that Rune Chant. It's just a really powerful card, and the deck is absolutely built for it in its amount of non-attack actions that enable that. But Hayden, with that, talk to us about Aggro Katsu.
Yeah, let's do it. So yeah, breaking out Aggro Katsu today. I noticed, Brendan, you've said that you've gone with the Aggro Katsu board, so it might be a little bit maybe harder for us than playing into a Chane that would typically probably hedge in case, with obviously control Katsu still being pretty prevalent in the meta. So for us on our side, sort of the game plan, I have to talk about that first into Chane, is we've really streamlined our deck to be as aggressive as possible, really focus on our on-hit effects, focus on our combo chains. Like, those are going to be the most important things for us. So, looking at Surging Strike, the Whelming Gust Wave, Mugenshi combo line is one of the most important things that we can actually play into Chane. It's going to be very hard for us to resolve that, but if we're able to threaten it with potentially a backup card, like something like a Razor Reflex or Ancestral Empowerment, or even the Breaking Scales, what that's going to do is force the Chane player to have to get that Husk out there, which is the most important thing we want to do. We want to get that Husk out as early as possible and force them to then be pretty defenseless. A lot of cards in the Chane deck do block for 2. If they're on the back foot and having to block, especially on key like Shackle turns, especially around Shackle 4 or 5, that's where we want them to be. So that's kind of our game plan. So yeah, really focusing on our combo lines. We do maximize this with 6 Surging Strikes with red and yellow, but just the red Whelming Gust Waves, because we just want to get them off. We don't actually need to do it 3-4 times. 2 times is going to be enough. Have the Razor Reflexes to help us get over. Another key card I do want to talk about is just a plain old generic from Welcome to Wraith, which is Snatch. Cards like this at the end of a Chane in this matchup are really good for just getting us advantage. The more sort of on-hit effects we can get through, the more sort of card advantage we can get in this matchup is really going to help us, because obviously Chane is banishing these cards off the top. So to try and even out the playing field a little bit, things like this are going to really help us. From the equipment side, the only thing you'll notice different to probably what you'd see in a standard setup for a Katsu Aggro deck is the Hardened Cross Strap. Really sort of one of the things that's made me really happy about this format, I think, is seeing a lot more Hardened Cross Straps and Vest the First Fist coming around, because I think it's these equipment have been really underplayed. They're really powerful. The fact that you get 2 resources, often so much better than a tunic in a format where 5-6 turns is pretty common for games to go with like aggressive matchups playing into each other. So in this matchup, we do play the cross strap. We're at a straight 60 card deck, cards that are sitting our sideboard, so of course the Tunic is out. We do have our 3 Flick Flack that we bring out in this matchup. The Command and Conquers, which are for Prism and even the Mirror, those aren't in here. And then we have a Minnowism Belittle package with blue Minnowisms and red Belittles, and those are out here as well. So deck just a really core, streamlined, aggressive build, and we'll see what damage we can do into this Chane deck.
Sweet.
I got a dice here, Brendan. Would you like odd or even?
I'll take odd.
Alright, it's even. So I will go first. I think, winning the die roll and being able to go first, really good for us if we can get a nice Arsenal piece, but also good to stop Chane from having that Soul Shackle heading into their first turn, so they don't get the turn 0 Soul Shackle. Brendan, any general thoughts about this matchup as we kind of kick it off?
I do like the Hardened Cross Trap. So I've actually only played an Aggro Ninja once. In the 3 Road to Nationals I played on Chane, that was in the quarterfinals at Edmund Unplugged. And I think that it's a criminally underplayed deck, to be honest. It's like one of the strongest decks in the format, almost objectively at a point. But people just tend to shy away to play its control counterpart, which is, in my opinion, much worse, especially in the format that we're seeing nowadays. So I really hope that more people hop on this deck, or maybe I hope that they don't, because I don't want to see a lot more when I go to Vegas.
Yeah, fair enough. Cool. So for us, what we're going to start with is we've got a pretty reasonable hand. One of the things, as I said, was we want to keep, get a pretty core sort of card into Arsenal. And then the other thing that's kind of my priority on a turn 1 like this is a Chane is don't let them filter. I don't want Brendan to go looking for powerful cards like Art of War, or even in this matchup, Command and Conquer. So yeah, I'm just going to set a card in Arsenal, keep us level 5 cards, and pass the turn.
Sure.
Knowing Brendan, he'll probably just have the natural,
I do have a bit of a Punisher. It's just a good hand. Would be heavily enabled by some other things, but thinking about an Arsenal here.
Yeah, one of the things that we would really want to see from Brennan is like no non-attack action coming in for like 4 plus, maybe a 1 off the blade or something, or maybe having a non-attack action coming in for 4 with like a Ghostly Visit plus, seeds and a blade for 9 would be okay with that. What we don't want to see is like, Soul Reaping or CNC or something like that.
Like a Rune Champ?
Yep.
Meet and greet for 1 Arcane and 4.
Great, yeah. So we'll go ahead and take the Arcane. We're not playing any Rune in this matchup. We just want to be straight racing, so is what it is. And then just in terms of blocks, so I don't tend to want to block these anyway. I'd rather keep, if I was going to block, I'd block the blade out if I think he's going to come in with that. Although I don't actually think that's that likely, considering you'd have to not have an Arsenal card to be able to do that. But yeah, we're going to take it down to 35. You're going to have a Rune Jump.
Okay, Shackle.
Mm-hmm.
E-Strike Draw.
Oh, yeah, nice. Okay. Hopefully you get a bit of a whiff. 2 resources left, right?
Yeah, so 1 Arcane. No resources left.
Yeah.
This is 1 Arcane and 5.
Oh, yeah, you made the Rune. Yeah.
I had a decent draw.
I bet you did. It's probably Art of War or Plunder Run. I'll take the Arcane, and then, yeah, I think so there's consideration to try and... We're just going to take the 5 here as well, so down to 29. Yeah.
Shackle 1, baby.
11 damages. Reasonable.
Pretty decent, right?
Yeah.
That's like the biggest thing about like Chane is a lot of people talk about. Is like, he's weak on Shackle 1, 2, 3. Sometimes. Yeah, that is the theory, but sometimes no. And that is why this deck plays those generics. It's because of those reasons. They're just very powerful, and they can bridge the gap when you do have a slower start, usually in this deck.
So we're going to start by in this Crane Dance. I'm going to come in with Surging Strike for 5. one resource left. So start.
So we have to wonder, does Hayden have the natty? He almost certainly does. Can we block the natty? So that's going to come in for 4. I mean, Hayden kept his hand, so this is like about as dangerous as it gets for us. God, it's a question of like, does it, he obviously has like a natural whelming, or he has a natural McGinty, like almost 0 dot. Like he wouldn't block like that. So it's like, are we going to let him fetch the whelming, which is pretty necessary, or are we going to block and then he has the whelming, and then we have a hard time blocking said whelming? A very hard time, actually.
It's always a tough decision.
Yeah, it is tough just because you hit us so hard here.
Yeah, one of the things I really like doing with Katsu Aggro decks is playing the Surging as the first piece on the chain. It just gives your opponent the least amount of information to make their blocks, and depending on what you have in hand or what maybe you need to hit off Katsu, it allows you just to sculpt your turn potentially a little bit better. Sometimes it's a little bit awkward if you you don't have any other attack actions, but it's often quite strong to play it first on the chain. It can be contextual with the rest of your hand.
Block for 5.
So we actually get to do a bit of an ultimate punish on Brennan here, which is really nice. So we have 1 resource left. We'll play the Art of War.
Okay, I thought you were gonna pummel me for a sec. I was like, what the heck?
That would be interesting. We're gonna choose Banish to draw 2 and give +1/+1 this turn. So we're gonna banish this red whelming gust wave. We're gonna draw 2. So no resources left, and this is gonna be for 6.
Yep. So taking 1.
Just thinking. Yes, you got 2. And does have a lot of solid equipment, which is not ideal. I just need to think about what.
Are we in the reaction step or in the damage cuts?
I'm in the reaction step still. Yeah.
Okay.
Just thinking. Yeah, so, okay. So I get through for 1 with the Art of War, so down to 39.
Yeah. Yep.
And then Katsu Trigger. We're going to throw this.
You have 3 cards, or how many?
I have 3 cards, 3 cards in hand.
Okay.
We're going to throw this Crane Dance, blue.
Sure.
And we're going to go and get McGinty.
Okay. Wow. She had 2 red whelming, or 2 whelmings.
Yeah. So we had a pretty reasonable opening hand. That's the big reason, kind of a flag actually, to Brendan probably. The reason we didn't attack is we had blue, Surging, Whelming, Art of War was our hand. So just like the perfect hand, and it's not really worth throwing the blue just to get in 1 damage with Kadachi and potentially let Brendan filter. And then we drew into the second Whelming. Which actually, I would prefer not to be having to throw Whelmings into Banish, but
yeah.
It's all the option we really had there.
Can you read me Mugenshi real quick?
Yeah, sure. So, Whelming Gust over the last attack, this combat chain, Mugenshi release gets +1 and go again, and if it hits, search for any number of cards named Lord of Wind and put them into your hand. So, play Whelming from hand, coming in for 5 with go again. So, 1 card in hand and Mugenshi banished.
5 is tough.
Yeah. So we did have to take, obviously.
He has like no targets. That's the thing. Is like the Lord of Wind's pretty bad. Actually, just like how many draws we want to let them have.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just tough because the mask is well here. Which is really... So he plays the Mugenshi for 5. It's like such an obvious breaking scales. If we get hit by the Magenchi, it's kind of no big deal because you have no targets in the graveyard, right? Literally zero.
I have no targets. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
So we just
additional
have
cost, so I
to-
do have to have targets to pump the Lord of Wind. Yeah.
Yeah. Um. Sure, we'll cover it up for 5.
Yeah, so Brennan just looking to buy the scales and then make a decision after
Yeah.
that.
100%.
Yeah.
Looking to buy the scales, I think it's for could be for high value, but all the value that he would get off the scales is coming off the top of his deck, most likely. So,
Yeah, so one of the things is if we scales here, we draw a card and then we're threatening the mask on the next attack. Brennan's
Sure.
only left with 1 card in hand. That's correct, yeah, 1 card in hand. So you have to commit some equipment to it if you want to stop it. And if he doesn't care about it, we potentially have a pretty big chain to come in with anyway. So yeah, we're gonna throw the breaking scales here.
I'll take 1.
Yep, so 38.
So I knew that this was a
Draw.
possibility. It's not a surprise, like the mass draw here and the draw, but I am on Shackle 1. This is a more defensive era for me in the game, but it's fine. Like even if he hits off the mask here, it's probably at max another 5 damage, most likely. Could be big, but we will have to see. We are not going to be able to cover up the Magenchi here. But that's fine. Like if he pops his breaking scales, he discarded one of his red whelmings. He played his red whelming. He banished one and then he played one. Like in terms of like the macro of this game, we're actually doing okay. And we're on 38. We'll probably maybe go down to 30. This is turn 1. It's fine.
Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead, pitch this Magenchi to play this other Magenchi coming in for 6 total. So +1 from the combo effect and then +1 from Out of War.
Yeah.
Resource left.
I think it's important to consider like you can husk this, but it's probably not ideal. Husk is kind of how we're gonna buy a pivot turn later.
Yeah.
It's very tempting to husk something like this. Perfect 6, no breaking scales. Obviously, it kind of blanks his turn. He just arsenals. He draws another card off mask, and he's probably going to come in for another 5.
The one that
I don't know
does
if
the one that does punish, right, is like a razor on ancestral when it's at an exact break point.
Yeah. I still think Husk is like losing for us, even if we get hit for 11 here, like that's relatively fine compared to husking this now, probably taking 5-6 damage over the course of the game and not having it for a key point later in the game. We'll say no blocks.
Okay, so taking 6.
Yep.
32. Master triggers, draw a card.
So Hayden had a very good turn 1, but I think we're just buying resources out of him right now. That's the idea. This is quite a good turn.
Yeah, so I'm going to draw the card first, and then I'll search for Lord of Wind.
Yep, go for it.
I think actually I should just be Lord of Winding first, but I knew... I think I should just Lord of Wind first there. I would recommend Lord of Winding first, then drawing the card, since we don't actually have any cards pitched to the bottom yet. If you have cards to pitch to the bottom, sometimes it would be correct to shuffle first. I actually think we just want to go and get... So we're going to play...
It's pretty dangerous just because Hayden could have a very long combat chain coming at us in terms of like drawing another surging and doing things like this. We are slightly banking that he doesn't do something like that. But if you throw a Husk here, so you could have not blocked the whelming. You don't buy the breaking scales. He draws the card, and then he like the Magenchi comes in for 60 breaking scales again, unless you like full cover it up. So it's pretty lose-lose with the Art of War. It just takes us to some nasty breakpoints.
Yeah. So 4. This. Yeah, so we actually go and get... We're going to go and get 3 Lord of Wind here.
That's very bad. That's very bad.
Yeah, Brendan knows if we're getting that we can use them. So
classic Hayden Dale though, big high roller.
Yeah.
How much damage will we be taking? We're gonna have a crap turn next turn, but Probably another surging. Just, I think we're going down to sub 25 here.
All right, so these go to my hand. Yeah, so we're coming for 1 with go again. No resources left.
No locks.
Yep.
1.
So down to 31.
Yep.
Yeah, so Lord of Wind doesn't have go again, so we don't want to be playing that on the chain here. What we do want to be doing is pitching it to play the Surging Strike, though.
Take 4. If he has a whelming here, it's just a bit Hayden Daily.
Taking 4?
Yep, 27.
27. We do, but it's just going to buy you sorry, it's 5. Sorry, there's a Art of War, so 26.
Yep, 26.
Yeah, and then Lord of Wind coming... sorry, Lord of Wind. Whelming Gust Wave Blue coming in for 3.
Oh, and you think this will buy my card out of hand?
That's the hope. Yeah, because the Grasp is still on the chain, technically, so Brennan can't be blocking with Grasp plus Mask, even though he's on 26 now. And obviously Brennan knows we have two Lord of Winds in hand. Maybe we'll get ultra lucky and we'll just draw the Mugenshi off. I don't know. We actually there's actually an argument to actually just break the chain in case that this does happen and we draw into Mugenshi. It's actually what I should have done. So before Kadachiing, although actually that would have put the equipment back off the chain. So I think this is, now that I'm talking it through, I think this is the correct way.
Yeah, we'll let him have it. Just so he has to have a bad hand / arsenal.
Yep, that's fine. And then we'll come in for 1.
Sure, take 1.
25. And then we'll just move these across.
And sure.
And then Lord of Wind for 3.
Yep, 22.
Yep. And then we'll set this Lord of Wind in Arsenal. Alright.
Sure. I'm gonna soul shackle trigger. It's a rift bind. Then I will shackle up and pass my turn.
Yep, so taking 1 to 21.
You correct.
Yeah. Cool. Alright. See what we've got here.
Really need Hayden to not draw another like Surging Strike or something like that. Anything that threatens a bunch of on-hit triggers.
Yeah, so we will... Yeah, interesting one. So we're actually going to play Art of War,
Jesus Christ.
which is pretty good. But we awkwardly don't have any go again cards in our hand, so because I feel like we're ahead here, I'm going to choose to actually go again, finishing this.
Yep. Sure.
I think it's going to be this Rising Knee Thrust.
Okay.
So we're going to draw 2 cards and have go again. On our next attack action. Okay. We will Kadachi for 1.
Yeah, I'll take 1.
Okay, so 20. We will then... Who knows we have this? So if we take with Kadachi here, Brennan can easily just block it with that Grasp, shut off our ability to have the mass triggers. Yeah, okay. I'm going to use the last resource to play Blackout Kick for 4 with Go again, thanks to the Art of War. Just present a
Sure,
breakpoint.
I'll block with 4 Seeds of Agony and Arcanine Skullcap.
Yeah. And we're going to play Ancestral Empowerment. So give me a +1.
This guy, man.
Drawing a card.
He's such a loser.
Yeah. Because of the way we draw that.
Oh my
quite
god,
nice.
dude. Oh my
Nice
god.
one there. And then... Yeah, that's the main reason we want to play the Blackout there. Present a breakpoint and then also have another breakpoint in our hand. And we'll come in head jab for 3. So threatening a Master Trigger.
Oh man. I cannot block this at all. God damn. The fucking +1s. I literally can't block this. Luckily, he's already forgoed the Katsu. It's our only saving grace. So we have 3 plus, so we could go down to 14 if it's for. Okay.
Yeah, so you're at 20 currently, right?
No. I think I'm at 19.
Did I miss the...
Took a Kadachi, took 1 from the Blackout.
Oh yeah, you went to 21 at the end of your last turn, and then to 20 from Kadachi, and then 19 from the Blackout kick, right?
Yep. I think so.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I just went back and checked. All good?
Oh yeah, I can't block it. I literally can't. Take 3.
Okay, 16.
Letting Master Triggers go through is probably the worst thing you can do, but I
yeah.
literally can't block it unless I'm early committing a Husk, and then I can get. I don't know. Just if he Lord wins us, it's very good, but I don't know. He probably snaps anyway.
So we have decision here. We could snaps here. Basically, we have a card. We could snaps. 16. Yeah, a lot of win means that Brendan gets to keep his. Do you have 1 block left on the grasp? Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. So you can block. If we went to Kadachi, Brendan can block it, then take the 2 from Lord of Win. 14. He gets to keep his Husk this turn. I want to get rid of the Husk. The best way to do that is to play this. Yeah, we're going to play Snatch for 4. We'll just throw our
Yep. Just have to Husk it.
Yeah, so in that case, I really don't want this Lord of Wind in the arsenal is kind of my issue. I just don't know if it's worth giving up the... I think it is, because we know that the card I have in hand is pretty good and his go again. So snaps it and then just come in for 2 here.
Take 2.
Yep.
14.
Yep, and then set Arsenal and pass.
Alright, Shackles.
Yep.
1, 2, CNC and Ghostly Visit.
Right. Yeah, we're fairly fortunate as well that Brendan hasn't played a CNC this game. It would be we've always had an Arsenal that we want to keep.
You are very fortunate. Artifor +1 banish. Pushing blue Ghostly Visit.
Brendan struggles when he doesn't draw 2 out of 4 by turn 3.
Yeah. That's it, bud. Alright. Plunder on that Arsenal. It's a blue though.
Yeah. So you got 29 to 14 on all left?
I do.
Okay, so. By both me and Brendan keep track of life just in case.
Shackle the 3, Riftbind for 4, 5, 6. I'm just gonna go a Riftbind in here. 5, 6. Yeah, it's all the same.
Yeah, it's for +1, right? So that's for 6.
I'll play Unhallowed for 6. Yeah. We'll tuck. I don't know, Seeds.
Yeah. Okay. So we just want to try and turn this into a race. Yeah. Okay, we'll take the 6 here down to 23.
Draw.
Yep.
Marvin Skies.
Okay. So that's pretty scary for us.
Ghostly Visit for
5.
It's gonna be for 5 with the on hit.
Yeah. So just looking at like what damage we can do next turn, and if we can take this and be able to present lethal to Brendan, because we need him to be blocking, to be taking cards here. So you have 2 cards left in hand?
Yep.
Yeah. So definitely going to be probably this Riftbind for 6. And Arsling another card, which is probably pretty good. Maybe even able to make a rune chant here as well. Although if we take this, won't be able to make a rune chant, I presume. What can we come back with? Might regret using the scalers at some point.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
But we did showcase the power of Aggro Ninja and what happens if you do get hit by the full line.
Yes.
It is almost, you almost always block just the whelming. But it's interesting there because the Art of War was the out, which is weird because there could have been a lot of other things. We got heavily punished for the Art of War.
We're going to take that. So it's 5, right? So we get an 18, you get a rune chant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully that, I don't know, at least prevents him from being able to make another rune chant.
Riftbind for 6 with 1 arcane.
Oh, unless he has the snap into CNC would be like the biggest punish in the world.
CNC for 7.
Yeah, that would be devastating. I think that would actually just be probably game. Yeah, I mean, we're just going to take this. So it's for 1 rune chant first, so 17 on the arcane, and then we'll take 6, or no blocks.
Yep, I snapped.
You snapped? Okay. 11.
Yep, and it will just be blade for 4.
Yep, it changes on our side, so we'll go to 7, you have a rune chant.
Okay. And I'll arsenal.
Yeah. So although our turn looked, a lot more complicated.
I'm at 13, so.
What's that?
13.
Yeah. Although our turn looked a lot more complicated and we played a lot more cards, Brendan's damage output there, I think, was actually more, potentially. That was quite a lot.
Pretty decent.
Yeah. So you have... So we've got the skull cap off. You've got that. So we're going to try and take cards here. So we're going to play Plunder on from hand, unfortunately. Heart and Cross Trap.
Yep.
And then we're going to play Red Surging Strike from Arsenal.
Yeah. I think we'll see the 3rd Art of War. We're just like definitely going to be facing down. The Magenchi is pretty rough if he has the Natty Whelming again. Kind of drawn a dud hand as well.
Pretty bad one.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a game on our hands, which is nice. Very close one here.
For 8.
No, the Plunder was from hand, so this is for 5.
Oh, just for 5.
Yeah. I'd be on cloud 9, I think, if this was out of Arsenal. Yeah, one of the things I really like about Heart and Cross Trap here is now we have 3 cards sitting in hand with the Plunder run on the board. And Brendan's going to try and work out like what could come post this and how to block.
I think I'm just going to... I feel like I have to play into a losing position to where he doesn't have the Whelming. I feel like if I play around the Whelming, I'm gonna face the whelming plus a follow-up, right? So I take 5, I go down to 8. Then I only face 1 follow-up. So I take 2, I'm basically down to 6 after the Kadachis, and then we likely have a mass trigger as well. So down to 6 is pretty easy for Hayden to kill us. He's expended how many cards in that scenario? The whelming. Could have the Magenchi, and we just like auto lose to the Magenchi, I think, as well. It's really complicated whether to block this one or not, because I do feel like Hayden is bluffing here. It's statistically really unlikely that he has the red whelming.
Yeah, there's only one left in my deck, and then McGinchie's, there's only one somewhere. I mean, there's one on the bottom, and there's one in the...
Yeah, there's one on the bottom, one in there.
Yeah.
That is quite the Haydenism, though. So he's looking for one of two things, right? He's looking to find the Surging Strike line, or he's looking to double draw off Mask. And like draw off the Plunder on and the Mask later down the line, and has another go again. Shit. So like most scenarios are just so terrible here for us.
Good.
Good.
You know what we like to hear.
So
yeah, I'll let Brendan decide his play, and then we can talk about the rest of this hand.
Yeah, there's just a lot to think about here, because it's probably like he's going, like, I feel like he's actually bluffing a double draw off of the Mask and the Plunder on with some other go again here, and like we lose to that. I think we also lose to letting this hit, and he finds the next whelming. The whelming comes in for 4, but then he follows up anyway. So we're down pretty low. He draws as well. We just died in the Mugenshi, so off of like anything. So if he has the blue whelming, it's decent as well. Question is like, did Hayden want us to block this one? I think it's a bit too early.
Brendan, yeah, usually we record our games when it's my early morning. We've flipped it this time. This is my evening and Brendan's morning, so a little bit slow on the uptake this morning.
Yeah, I think we can't play around the Razor or the Ancestral. It's just like, I mean, we could. No, we can't play on the Razor. We can only play around the Ancestral. So bad. Like so many. Well, just like 75% of our hand blocks for 2. So that's terrible to start off. So we have to commit an armor if we're blocking this.
This is the turn where like you really want the husk, right? This is like why it's so important.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of course. Usually you don't get hit for 40 on turn 1 though.
So how much for Brendan's a classic Chane player. They get annoyed when players output similar damage to what they do.
I'll take. I don't know. I think I'm taking 5 here. I don't know. Like, there's so many losing positions that if I block this, I feel like the follow up can be. I don't know. God damn it, dude. This is a fucking hard one. Because I feel like you're just going for a double draw of Plunder later down the line. Like, that's your entire goal here. It's like you expect this to be blocked. It's just this is going to draw 2 cards plus our armor, and then we only have another 2 block that we can commit. And if we basically we're committing our whole hand if we block after that, which is pretty terrible. And then he plays an Arsenal into us. The whelming, yeah. I mean, because it's really Mugenshi that kills us. Sure, take 5.
Okay, so down to that's 8.
Yep, you have 2 triggers here.
Yeah, so I'm gonna stack Katsu first, then Plunder. So Plunder's gonna come off first. We're gonna draw the card.
Yep.
And then do I? Yeah, we're gonna throw this Fluster first. And we'll go and get whelming.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we'll play it. So come in for 4.
How many cards in hand?
So we have 3 cards in hand now.
I think our question here is to play around the Ancestral. Can't play around the Razor. We can't. Like, it's over. It's just we lose the game. It's fine. But do we want to play around Ancestral because that armor is going to be pretty important? And honestly, you could just threaten another mask anyway. Go down to 6. The mask won't matter. Okay, but we'll have another armor block. I'm just going to block this one for 5.
Okay.
I just can't get Ancestral.
I like
I just lose the game on the spot.
Yeah, I think I like that. You're on 8. You have 1 card in hand?
2 cards in
Sorry,
hand.
2 cards in hand, yeah. Go 5. We want to ideally at least force 1 more card. And if we can get 2, I mean, if we can get both cards, obviously that would be the dream, but we don't have enough to be doing that, unfortunately. But we do have enough to... Yeah. I think you'd be more than happy to go to 4, wouldn't you? Okay, yeah, sure. So this is the better play for us. So we'll play leg tap coming in for 4.
Yeah, I'll go to 4.
Yeah. Which turns the skull cap on. But we kind of have to. And then we'll play snatch. No cards in hand. Yeah, I was really hoping to draw a blue off of the surging strikes. We had an all red hand that turn, which actually really shows the strength of Hardened Cross Trap and just what that can do in an all red hand. It can really bail you out of situations as well. But just if we have another blue, we'd be able to Kadachi's as well.
So I have to block for 4. I literally zero choice here. Our hand and our arsenal are so bad right now.
Okay.
Tough. So shackles.
7 plays 4, right?
Yeah, probably like one of the last things we want to see here. We have the mutated mask plus the rift bind. Can't even play out the arsenal. We just rolled ourselves into a losing game. Everything is bad.
Our ideal situation here is getting through this with 2 cards in hand, so that we can, Kadachi's plus.
I mean, that'll be easy enough, bro. Pitch a red, and it will be mutated master 1 arcane and 2.
Red. So no cards in hand.
Nope.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. We'll take 2.
It's 3 total.
3 total. Yeah, with the arcane, so 6, and then. Okay, actually in that case, we'll take the arcane and then just think you on the blocks.
Okay.
Best here. This is maybe taking 2 to 2. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll go 4.
I'll take 2 blood debt. So.
Yep. So I'm on 4, you're on 2.
Oh my.
Alright, feeling good. Start pitching Whelming to come with Kadachi for 1.
I mean, holy balls. Yep, no blocks.
Okay, down to 1. And yeah, so we just start taking cards. Kadachi for 1.
Ponder on.
Yep, so 1 resource left, leg tap for 4. Brennan's thinking, I feel like it might be an Art of War.
It is, we still lose to everything.
Yeah. You could pitch, banish, draw if you have 3 attack actions in hand after that. I mean,
it's not gonna happen.
Right, but you can play into, like, that's your out, right? Oh, 2 attack actions, because you have 3 cards, so 2 attack actions to be able to block this and then block the next one.
Yep.
But then you have no cards in hand, right? So, yeah.
I'd have the 1 card in hand. If I draw 2 attack actions, Plunder Run, +1 defense, Banish, Command and Conquer.
Yeah.
Hit.
Right, because out of wars from Arsenal. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
A block for 4.
Yeah, and then Scar for a Scar. No go again for 4.
Yeah, I'll block for 4.
Okay, nice. Yep. See Arsenal and pass to you. So Brendan does have to kill us here. So, I mean, because I knew that, I guess maybe we should have been blocking with the leftover card we had.
That's not a winning scenario. Oh, well, we're dead.
Yeah, I mean,
we needed 4 seeds, like 3 seeds, probably.
3 seeds bounding, plus find something else, I guess. Or if you have blue, I guess, then yeah, that would have 3 seeds bounding. Make a rune chant, kill me, and that would have punished me for really. I should have blocked with the Scar last turn, since we knew that Brendan was going down to 2.
It's over.
Yeah.
There's no conceivable hand you could have that won't block.
Yeah. All right, Katsu vs Chane. 2 pretty popular decks in this format right now. We're seeing, Katsu there just getting the win. Very close game. A lot of decision points in there, both for my side and Brendan's side. Just want to talk about a few cards that came up and I think are really interesting interactions with the aggressive sort of build of Katsu. First I want to talk about his Hayden cross trap. We saw there we drew like the quad red hand. It was really awkward, but we were able to crack the cross traps, play that surging strike, keep 3 cards in hand, and force our opponent to have to make a decision, which is really important there. There's a turn, if I talk about turns that maybe I would go back and look at again. We Snapdragon Scalers on 1 turn to get that Lord of Wind out of Arsenal to put our Surging Strike in. That's where we backed up those turns with the Hayden cross trap. I think I'm still on board that play, but it's one that I might go back and look at again. The one thing we definitely should have done, though, was on the last turn, second to last turn, Brendan's second to last turn, we should have just blocked with the excess card, the second Scar for a Scar, rather than, putting into Arsenal, because we knew Brendan was going to 2, and that we would definitely be taking cards or leaking damage, and so we'd have to, kill us on that subsequent turn. There was no other choice. So yeah, definitely wanted to look at back there. Art of War, obviously saw 2 Art of Wars. They'd be really powerful for us. Art of War's on a huge combat chain and just so massive, as we saw there. We came in with, I think, 4 or 5 attack actions there. So, an extra 4 or 5 damage out of the Art of War. Really important there. Surging Strike, Bombing, you saw the power of what that can do. On-hit effects and aggressive sort of on-hit effects that really push Chane in the early to mid-game is how you combat this matchup, I guess, in some ways. But still felt really close and very tight. What about on your side, Brendan? I knew a few turns there that were difficult decisions.
So the end turns were difficult, right? But the one thing we did see is like out of Art of War, the other mode that you can use to affect, which was a terrible situation, but it was the only out I had. Yeah. And we still had an out in that game with the 1 card going off the top. But yeah, you saw the Art of War played 4 defense on both, which definitely kept us alive, kept the card in hand. I think the turn to consider is definitely the first turn. That's pretty much the only talking point, right? Is like, how do you block that first turn and what's the most effective block? Like, after discussing, I think the only block that you can make is with Husk, right? Because you get blown out every way outside of Husk block. So you play the Surging, right? We cover it up for 5, exactly. We get blown out by Art of War. Then you come in for 5 with the Mugenshi. We want to keep a blue in hand because we have Plunder Run in hand. We want to go off the top. We would ideally, like, a decent way to, like, we can high roll with the Shackle by getting an attack action. We have the Plunder, say this is the blue Plunder Run in Arsenal. We have the Plunder Run, plus we have the blue in hand. So we're able to play the attack action with the Plunder Run plus Blade for 4. That's how you can pivot off of 2 cards there. We're really incentivized to keep the 1 blue in hand. The only thing we have left is a 2 block. A 2 block and a 3 block. So we have 3 cards in hand. He comes in with the Whelming Gust Wave is for 5 because he's Art of War and he has Snapdragon Scalers up. We know he has the McGinty release, so how do you block it? You either let him draw here, or he comes in for 6 and you're tossing the entire hand. So you're tossing the hand and you're basically saying, that's all I got, and then he might snatch you after that anyway, play an Arsenal after that. So you're losing this turn cycle no matter what, but how do you effectively block it to reduce damage the most? Yeah. So we ended up doing was blocking the Whelming, keeping the card in hand, forcing him to use Breaking Scales as a way to, like, kind of, I don't know, take damage, but try to trade off an economy to play a stronger late game. make him use the breaking scales, all this stuff. But he does grab 3 Lord of Winds, does have the other surging. All we have left is the 3 with Vexing Malice, which we eventually toss anyway because we've basically said, okay, we're dying. We don't want to get solo that Husk is going to be threatened by Kadachis in the next turn. Here's how we're doing it, right? So we end up losing the whole hand anyway. But there is a question of how do you block, when do you block, and what's the most effective way to kind of keep playing into the game.
Yeah.
Our hand this is not our exact hand, but we do have 1-2 block, 2-3 blocks, and then the blue what we're trying to keep.
Yeah, I think there's 2 things for me. I think on that turn, just talking through it as well, Brennan, is you don't know about the Out of War when I come in with a Surging Strike, but on the first, we talked about it, playing a Surging Strike on Chain Link 1 is really difficult for your opponent to know what you're doing. That's why I really like doing it. There's a discussion about just not blocking the Surging Strike there, although it did feel really obvious because I kept a really strong hand about going and getting the McGinty. The other sort of, I guess, point of discussion there is if you block with 6 on the, so I think the blue you had in hand also blocked for 3, right? So if you block the 6 on the Whelming, I can't scales it, but then I can scales the McGinty, but you can Skullcap plus Husk on that. But that takes away all of your defensive resources, takes away all the cards from your hand, and we still have 2 cards left in hand 1 card left in hand plus an attack. So it's a really difficult situation. I think you could go back and probably analyze that play for a wee short while, to be honest. But yeah, really interesting game, really, I think.
Yeah, Husk plus Skullcap on a McGinty is it's a pretty high price to pay. On turn 1.
Yeah, but I mean,
on turn 1.
Yeah, I mean, but don't forget as well. So after that turn, we take Brendan down in life, and then Brendan comes back with a triple attack turn. With the 3, so it was the meet and greet plus the 3 rune chance across the attacks plus the blade and the ghostly visit, right? So it was an out of war turn.
That was not the next turn. The next turn I passed, right?
Sorry, the following turn, right?
Turn after, right?
Yeah.
So we had to block the reason why we took as much damage. We actually lost the house there is we did have we had Art of War, blue unhallowed, red unhallowed. Yeah. We already had the Riftbind sitting in. It was Riftbind. It was one of them was already sitting
Riftbind, yeah. So it was 16. It was 20. It was 23, I think, with the 3 rune chance. So 20 physical plus the 3 arcane damage as well. 2 rune chance, 1 seed. So yeah. So not a slouch for turn.
Probably the most ideal for us outside of not having Command and Conquer.
Yeah,
to finish
CNC.
it off. Yeah, that's it. But I mean, yeah, obviously that was what made the game competitive. But still, it just comes the actual decision point. I think to the game comes back to turn 1, and I currently don't see a clean way out of it other than overcommitting armor to unknown information, which is rough.
Well, having not blocked on Chain Link 1, right? That's the other, but obviously the Art of War.
Yeah, the Art of War is
changes your plan significantly. But yeah, those are the kind of things where it's hard to think ahead that far. That's again Chain Link 1, so hard to be okay. 3 more cards in hand. What could these 3 cards be? There's so many different combinations of things that could happen in that situation. So yeah, really difficult, and one of the true strengths of this Katsu Aggro deck. So yeah. All right, Brendan. Well, that's it for Katsu Aggro versus Chane. We'll see everyone next time.
See you guys.